Jai Hind everyone. Welcome again to the Patriotic IAS. Let's start our IAS PCSwala Daily Current Affairs. Today we will see that one by one from the front page to the editorial page that how many of the important news are there. We will cover one by one. So let's start from the front page. Now let's start from the front page. The front page first news that talks about the Congress calls for the action against Modi. So this is a political news, nothing to do with the UPSC relevance or the syllabus. But here you should know that what is going on in the politics. That is interesting. That this is the main thing about the tussle, the controversy that is going on the comment that is made by into the one of the speech of our Prime Minister Modi ji into the rally that was into the Rajasthan. Here he made a comment that Congress want to do the survey across the India and want to know the properties and the gold of the tribal people so that they can snatch from them and it should be given to the Muslims. So this is the statement, and this was the twisted form of the different statement, particularly one of the statement that was made by Manmohan Singh, former Prime Minister, into the 2006 that the Muslim has the first right on the resources of India. This was for the reducing the fear factor and alienation of the Muslim. It was not that yes they are going to given the first priority on all the thing is respective of the other merit. It was just to ensure that the minorities are safe. But the way that has been twisted, that is being opposed by the Congress leadership. There is a lot of comment from the Congress leadership that the Prime Minister spread the fake news. Okay, so here the Prime Minister said that the Congress manifesto talk about the distribution of wealth to the Muslims. So this is the main thing here. The Congress manifesto that is talking about the reduction into the overall inequality across the country. So, but here, as per the Congress, the Prime Minister had twisted the statement and the manifesto content. So, this is from here. The second news that is talking about the World Earth Day. Here, this picture shows the World Earth Day, and this year's World Earth Day motto theme is the planet versus plastic. So here it has shown that the use of the plastic even in the agriculture non-conventional sense. Here a woman used the plastic cover to save her maize crop. Okay, so when the World Earth Day started, it started into the 1970s. From the 1970s, it was the context of the mass mobilization in the US against the pollution and the actions of the human that impacting the earth environment, and that's why 22nd of the April each year is celebrated at the World Earth Day. So please remember for the prelims of the UPSC as well as for the state pieces, that is very important. Okay, next important news that we are going to take is from the front page. Again, this is not related to the UPSC syllabus, but again it is the controversy that is going on with respect to recruitment into the Bengal with respect to those schools where the teachers and the non-teachers staff post was filled, and it was near about the 25,753, and the High Court of the Calcutta, the West Bengal High Court, Calcutta High Court has declared this null and void, that the process has been faulty, and that's why we cancelling all the appointment under this. So what was the main point for the declaring it violative? Because of it violates Article 14 and the 16 of the Indian Constitution. Article 14 talk about the equality before law and equal protection of the law. And Article 16 talks about the equality into the appointment of the different posts and other employment by the government. So here it was the government post, mostly it was for the government school, and it was for the state level selection test. So here the violation was that there was a lot of corruption that was involved in this process of appointment. And here even the High Court has ordered that the return of the salaries of those who obtained the job through the unfair means and with the 12% of the interest, annual interest on whatever they have received, and it has asked the district magistrate to implement all this thing in a very speedy manner. This is all about here the state government is talking about the order of High Court is erroneous, it will appeal into the Supreme Court, and that's the all about. In the summary, you should know that it is about the corruption into the appointment into the post that is run by the state government of the West Bengal, and mostly it is the teachers and the non-teachers staff post, and it was 25,753 posts, and or the High Court has ordered for the cancellation and declared it the null and void because it violates Article 14 and Article 16. Because here it has been found that it is discriminatory. You have not used the fair practice for the appointment. Okay, so here the issue of the corruption in the teachers recruitment, that is continuously for the many years, and the main allegation is that the appointment was obtained beyond the panel and after the expiry of the panel. That is minimum requirement. So this has been violation. So this is all about you should know. Next news again from the front page is the lower turnout into the first phase of the Lok Sabha election. This is the 18th Lok Sabha that is going on. The first phase of the election was held on the 19th of the April, and the turnout for the voters was 62.34. That was much lower than the previous Lok Sabha election when into the first phase it was near about 69%. So the dip is of the 7%. Out of 100, 7 people lesser voted for this year. This shows that the lack of the people's interest into the voting process or the electoral process. This is bad for any democracy. The other thing that is considered for the lack and the dip and the reduction into the voter turnout is the heat wave that is going on. It was very intense heat wave around the 19th of the April, and many of the people, for example, those who are the elderly, they have the issue to reach. Those who have the higher age, they are not comfortable to go at the polling booth for the cast their vote. This was the situation, and now the second phase of the election that is going to be held on the 26th of the April, and it will be into the near about the 13th of the state and UTs. So here the weather condition is not that much harsh that was on the 19th. As per the IMD forecast, the weather condition, the heat wave condition will be not that much intense. Even it will be absent on the 26th of the April, and so it is expected that the turnout will be higher on the 26th of the April. That is the second phase of the election. So here it is given that on the first phase, previous year it was the 69%. This year it is the 62.34%, and there is the dip 69 to 62. So it is reduction of the near about 7-8%. So this is cause of concern. This time the election was on the 102 seats, 102 seats, and it was around 21 states and union territories. Okay, so you should be the clarity about all this thing. So let's see what is going to happen on the 26th of the April. So whoever have the voting age, I think most of you have the eligibility for the casting your vote. So please go and vote. This is your responsibility. This is very important. What the citizenship. A good citizenry is always important for a healthy nation. If you want to build a very good nation, it starts from the healthy citizenry, a citizenship that have the awareness about its responsibility, and they are implementing all this thing. Okay. Next news is with respect to the tussle that is going on between the Karnataka government and the central government with respect to the fund that was asked for the recent drought condition into the Karnataka. Here the drought condition into the Karnataka, and the Karnataka government asked the central government, please help us. As per the rule, whenever the state government don't have that much disaster relief fund, they are not able to fulfill the need to cope up with the situation of the disaster, like the drought condition into the Karnataka, the flood condition was into the Kerala and Tamil Nadu in the Chennai. So we have seen that this is the issue into the India. same time we see that some region of the India is facing the drought and some region of the India facing the flood condition. And this is due to the management of the water. So whenever the question comes into the means that what is the region of the scarcity of the water in India, it is not the scarcity of overall of water. We have sufficient amount of the water. Annual water in India is 125 centimeter. So it is very high as compared to the other nations such as the Israel that had the only 25 centimeter level of the annual rainfall. But India, despite its 5 times, we are not able to manage, but the Israel, they are easily able to manage because they have the better management and the technology. So India, if want to reduce and eliminate this water scarcity and the issue associated with respect to this, like the flood and the drought, we need to load the management of the water. So this is all about from the front page. Next important news that we are taking is the no data available on the president returning files for the reconsideration. So here, a RTI has been filed, Right to Information. So Right to Information Act was brought into the 2005 and it was brought under Article 21. So as per this, the citizen can file to know the government and the public information that has been taken by our different branches of the government. Okay, so here it was filed this right to information request was filed to know that if the suggestion, the recommendation or the bills are given to the president, how many times it has returned to the Council of Ministers so that they can reconsider and after that they can send it back. As per the rule, simply if you will go by the constitutional provision, even by the Article 111, Article 111, which talk about the assent to bill, as per the rule, the parliament, two houses of the parliament, they pass the bill. After that, it is sent to the president for the assent. And the president gives its assent or can withhold its assent or even that can return it to the Council of Ministers or the Prime Minister. So here, the information with this regard to that is sought. This is important because people should know that what is going on, how many bills have been referred to the president and how many bills has been returned back to the Council of Ministers so that people can know that yes, this is going on and that was the matter, that's why the president returned the bill. But the thing is that as per the government reply, they don't have the information with regard to that, either with regard to the any of the recommendation that is given by the Council of Ministers to the President and President returning the file. Is it clear to you? The process is that final decision, the sign was taken from the President to finalize the any of the act or the decision. All the executive activities are done on the name of the president, and this is rule that the president can return it to the reconsideration, and this is the process of the parliamentary legislation, and the people has the right to know what is going on. Okay, so if you don't have the data, and even if you are talking about the we don't have the data, this is considered as the incomplete or the misleading reply, and this is against the rule of and the Act of the Right to Information Act 2005. So please return that, and whenever you have to discuss your answer with respect to the parliamentary functioning, you can give this. Even they don't have the data with respect to the previous president. Ram Nath Kovind was the president, and even one of the right to information, one of the student has filed with respect to the Ram Nath Kovind, and even that the data from that period is not available. So here it is given. Okay, so this is lacking the accountability and transparency into the system, and this is very bad for the overall parliamentary process or the democratic process in India. So you should be very clear about this. Next news is talking about the film trailers are not promise, it is only meant to create the buzz. Supreme Court has give its observation. recently there was the case that was filed that the trailer was something else, but in the reality, the film that was not available. The song, it was with respect to the, recently there was a movie that was released, Fan, and the name of the movie is The Fan, and here the petitioner has asked that the fan in the trailer, the song that has been shown was not included into the movie when the person went and watched the movie. So he filed the case that it was against, it was not as per the, it is liable for the unfair trade practices. It is not a fair trade practice and it is against the fair trade practice. And if the content of the promo do not feature into the actual movie, this means that this is violating this fair trade practices. The Supreme Court observed that this is not, the trailer is not the part of the movie. This is just created to popularize the movie and created a buzz. Okay, so it is not necessary that whatever shown into the trailer, that should be the part of movie itself. And this is the stand taken by the Supreme Court, and that's why this is not considered as the unfair trade practice. So this is all about from this news article. Next important news that we are going to take is the Venkaiah Naidu Mithun Usha Uthup honored with the Padma Award. Okay, so here this is very important for the UPSC prelims, or even they can ask into the UPSC prelims. The most important, you should remember that who have been awarded with the Padma Vibhushan. So the name of in the Padma Vibhushan is our previous Vice President Venkaiah Naidu, and then it is also given to the Bindeswar Pathak, that he was the founder of Sulabh International, and Bharatnatyam dancer Padma Subramaniam. So please remember this name. These are very important. Most important area, the state teachers, they ask from the Padma Vibhushan. Okay, least chances is there from the Padma Shri, but mostly they ask from the Padma Vibhushan. From the Padma Vibhushan, they can go to the Padma Bhushan, and into the Padma Bhushan, you should know the famous name of Ram Nayak. He was the famous leader of the BJP and also governor of the Uttar Pradesh recently. He was very famous because he was defeated by the Govinda, and Govinda was now Govinda has shifted the party from the Congress to BJP, but at that particular time he was from the Congress and filled against the Ram Nayak, and he defeated Ram Nayak into the 2004 general election of the Lok Sabha. Okay. Besides that, you should also know that the industrialist Sitaram Jindal. So you don't be confused with the Sitaram Yechury. Sitaram Jindal has been provided with the Padma Bhushan. So these are the name for the Padma Bhushan. Here the Padma Shri name are here. So you don't have to go into that much detail, but at least you should read the each name. You should see the pictures of each of this personality. Okay. Gujarat-based cardiologist Tejas Madhusudan Patel has been given to the Padma Bhushan. Beside that, Marathi film director Dattatreya Ambadas Mayallu. Okay, he is also known as the Raj Dutt. So please remember this name, Padma Bhushan. Chandreswar Prasad Thakur, a physician known for his contribution to the search and policy on the Kala Azar. So Kala Azar, it is indigenous, endemic to the India, and it is mainly protozoan disease, and it is single leishmaniasis, that is the parasite that is causing the Kala Azar. Kala Azar means it is the skin color grew into the grey or the black. That's why it is known as the Kala Azar. Kala Azar. There is the two word. Kala is made of the Hindi word Kala, black, and Azar, that is made of the Persian word, means disease. So Kala Azar means black disease. So here the skin tone into the black. That's why it is known as the Kala Azar. It is due to the parasite, and please we will cover this into our basic science classes. Don't worry. Okay. Then there was a unique moment. The folk dancer from the Assam, Drona Bhuyan, made Ojapali and Devdhani dance when he was going on the red carpet to receive the Padma Shri. So each of the Padma Shri, please go through one by one and please go through the name. This is not one day affairs that you can complete all this. You have to, for the 3-4 name, just go through the Wikipedia, Google search, and please go through their contribution, how these personality are. So it will be naturally you can able to memorize. So this is all about, this is important for the prelims examination. Next important news that we are going to take is the restoring the earth's right to good health. So here it is into the context of, already we know that 22nd of the April, that is the World Earth Day or International Mother Earth Day. Okay, so that we are celebrating from the 2009, that International Mother Earth Day we have added. Otherwise it was the International Earth Day. Okay, so here it is talking about that what is needed to balance between the mitigation approach and those actions that we need to take to reduce the climate change or the impact of the climate change. Okay, so here this article starts with the context of the European Court of the Human Rights that has given its order against the Switzerland government, that it has not able to protect the rights of a group of women senior citizens, and in they are known into the Swiss language Klima Signorinen. Here, this is a tough pronunciation. So this is the context, and here it has mentioned that the government's action to curb the emission were inefficient, and this is failed. They had failed to protect women against the impact of the climate change. Again, the same writer that has mentioned all this article on the basis of the India's context of the recent Supreme Court judgment. Under that, Supreme Court has said that the people have a right to be free from the adverse impact of the climate change here. And Supreme Court of India that brought that there is the violation of Article 14 and Article 21. Article 14 that talks about the right to equality. So Supreme Court said that right to equality is violated because the impact of the climate change is disproportionate. And Article 21 because it is right to live in a healthy environment. So both are violated. Okay. The case was with respect to the balancing the act of the protection, conservation of the nature, and government commitment to take the initiative to fulfill its international commitment for the climate change. Okay, so here all this has been discussed. You should remember with respect to the prelims that state of global climate report that is released by the World Meteorological Organization. In the prelims, they ask such question: who published the state of global climate report? So it is the World Meteorological Organization. Please remember that. Besides that, we have seen that the continuous increase in ocean heat, sea level rise, Antarctic sea ice loss, and glacier retreat. All this thing has been continuous. What is this glacier retreat? It means glacier that are melting, that are receding its snout, the last point from where the glacier starts, that is going backside, means its overall area is reducing. For example, if you will see into the figure, like if this is the first point, this is the initial point of the, take this ground, there is the glacier that is start from the here. This is the snout, that is the starting point. Retreat means the next year this has gone backward. From here the glacier has shrink to this place, means the snout will be here. So that's why this glacier is retreating. So here it has given the glacier retreat. Okay, Antarctica sea loss continuously we have seen. So here one of the statement that is given from the United Nations General Secretary Antonio Guterres, he has said that humanity is acting like the Mother Earth's delinquent delinquent child, means you are the child but you have gone on the wrong path, you have become criminal, you are misusing the resources in such a way that is harming the nature. And yes, we need to restore the harmony with the nature, our need and our greed. So there is the famous quotation from the Mahatma Gandhi that the earth has sufficient for the everyone needs, for not for anyone's greed. Even one person who have lot of greed, he will become a richest person. Despite that, he will continuously exploit the earth. You can see that there are a lot of examples that they have become very rich, but still their actions are not as per the aligned with the conservation of the earth. So here it is given. However, India's condition is good in the many area. For example, India already have achieved some of the nationally determined contribution targets that was about to achieve in 2030, but we have achieved by now itself. For example, we have reduced the emission intensity that was to decrease by the 30 to 35% by the from the 2005 level, though, so we already have achieved. We have also achieved to 40% of our total renewable energy, total of the energy, and 40% out of that should be from the non-renewable energy, non-fossil fuel energy. Okay, renewable energy like the solar energy, wind energy, already we have achieved, and we are now targeting for the net zero emission by the 2070. So this is the this is the thing that India's action is commendable. Here it is given. So this is good. Okay. However, we have seen that there is the vulnerability. 80% of its population, India's population, are vulnerable to the climate change, and mostly they are the marginalized people and they have the disproportionate impact. For example, those who have the small landholders and the farmers, they have the very small land. Due to the impact of the climate change, they are not able to produce more, and that's why they become more poorer. And that's why the poverty cycle that they have to enter. Okay, so here this is threatening the livelihood of the many. For example, small farmers and the many of such workers or the such people group, they are associated with the informal sector, and that's their livelihood is based on the natures. Okay. Food security is also being threatened and exacerbating existing socio-economic inequality, because those who are already poor, they are becoming more poorer. That is the situation. That's why here the writer has mentioned. So what we need? We need, for example, Supreme Court, this judgment from the India as well as the European Union Human Rights Court. Here we have seen that at least it has brought that now we are ready for the adoption of an overarching regulation on the climate change. Okay, so it has brought the consensus that yes, there has been the starting and initiation of so many climate action plan at the state level and the national level. Same times we have also seen that the allocation of dedicated funds, functions and the functionaries due to this type of the, and we also have seen that due to this type of the court orders, there has been many of the countries that has framed the X rule laws that are impacting and that are achieving the target that we have set our goals for the climate change and the different other such goals such as the sustainable development goals, achieving the net zero emission. So out of this, there has been the 60 countries where there has been the positive law that has been legislated, and they have the positive impact where they are ready to do beyond the just reaching the climate action goals. They are doing more than that, and we have seen this is from those developed countries that is known as the West countries or the global north, and those who are the developing countries from the global south, such as the South Africa and Philippines, and developed countries such as the Germany, Ireland, New Zealand, Finland, South Korea, all they have done this type of the action and the legislation. Okay. Now we need a framework law in India as well, and this framework law, this will help into the climate governance, and it will bring the more stringent and the distributed accountability, promoting the exchange of the knowledge from the higher level to the lower level. For example, in India there are so many states, for example 18 state and union territories, they have classified as the moderate to the highly vulnerable climate change. So they need to tailor-made their actions, their plan at the state level. Even this article is talking about the integrated approach, the SDG into the local planning and a multi-layered and a multi-stakeholder process, so that we can share the our different type of the plans, knowledge, information. Okay, and also it is talking about the intersectoral approach. Intersectoral approach, for example, it has given that India has started with the One Health initiative, and under One Health initiative we have integrated 13 of the ministries and the department, so that for each thing has the integrated impact on the other. For example, climate change and the climate impact on the health, this also impact on the human resource, climate impact on the there are the agriculture, and science and technology that can bring the mitigation approach for the health as well as the environment. So we have integrated this Ministry of the Health, Environment, Science and Technology, okay, and departments such as the disease control, research and the pandemic preparedness. For example, disaster management is also integrated, and because as this environment caused the disaster management, so integrated approach is very important. Beside that, the writer has proposed for the circular economy, means if you are producing something, you consume, again it's going to the cycle, so that extra pollution or the pollutants are not accumulated. This should be the approach that the writer has mentioned here. Okay, so here it has mentioned that yes, there has been the one more case that has been mentioned, one of the Madras High Court observation, that the declaring this mother nature as the living being, and that's why we are providing the all the protections such as the granting the status of legal person with corresponding rights, duties and liabilities. Okay, so here in order to preserve and conserve it, so we need to use all these court observation, and we need to integrated approach to reduce such vulnerability, as well as we need to balance the species and the conservation of the nature, as well as the impact of the climate change on the normal human being. So this is all about from this news article. Next news article, again it is talking about the political space for the disability right is silver of hope. So here we have seen that already we have covered all this thing. India has ratified it under the National Disability Network. Here there is the we have already act that we have ratified. A person, here the Person with the Disability Act 2016 already have brought so many rights for the disabled person, and beside that there has been the court approach and the court order. For example, there is the famous Supreme Court case of the Navtej Singh Johar versus Union of India case 2018. Here, the sexual orientation was considered under the Article 15 for the state should provide the protection against the discrimination if there is the discrimination on the basis of the sexual orientation, and it is considered that the same as the other ground that has been provided into the Article 15 under the analogous. So here the writer is telling that again the disability can come under the analogous approach, and that's why the disability can also be brought under the Article 15. So this is all about from this news article. We will conclude here our session. Thank you for joining the session. All the best. Jai Hind.